All right, this salon gal in Texas that she got arrested and then she was released. If she's a single mother and she needs to put food on the table, amen to her getting up and working and refusing to uh, she tears up the cease and desist order, and the judge sentenced her anyhow, especially if she's a single mother. I've got to do my facts and find out if that's the case. But she's a working woman. She's not depending on government welfare, and she's trying to provide for her family. Did they give her this stupid order? This is ridiculous, and it's overpower on the judges and officials, police officers, and other people. It's just abuse of power.
Look, I got to reopen. I know I can't open right now, but I got to do it because I got to put food on the table. She was held in contempt, or rather, she was issued a cease and desist order. She tore it up famously at a public demonstration. And then in front of the judge says, "You want to apologize?" She said no. Listen to this.
I have to disagree with you, sir, when you say that I'm selfish, because feeding my kids is not selfish. I have hairstylists that are going hungry because they'd rather feed their kids. So, sir, if you think the law is more important than kids getting fed, then please go ahead with your decision, but I am not going to shut the salon.
Congressman, it seems like what every parent would do. I mean, ultimately, you need to feed your children. We do know that a GoFundMe page has been started, and over $500,000 has been raised for her so far. Your thoughts on this?
Wow, $500,000 has been raised for her. Good, good for them. Good for people standing up. That's the American thing to do. Freedom's right of choice, taking care of your responsibilities and your family, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, these so-called leaders and these so-called judges across the country, arresting moms and dads, and of course she's not the only case. A dad was arrested in Colorado for playing catch with his daughter, a paddleboarder.
This is not the only case. This is just power gone amok.
Who was paddleboarding alone in the ocean, was chased down by police boats in California. Guy in Florida had to be sent to court because he was trying to sell takeout out of his restaurant. This is happening over and over. And these so-called leaders, these so-called judges, they need to take a civics lesson. Okay, these laws will not be respected if they are not respectable laws. People are not dumb. They can understand and they can assess whether a law makes sense, whether it's really based on data and public health. And a lot of these things aren't. Right? We've seen a lot of rules being passed that simply don't make sense. And then they go further. Then they want to actually punish you. They want to use the full force of the law, fine you, throw you in jail, arrest you, take away your freedom just because you're engaging in activity that was previously perfectly legal. Okay, engaging in a voluntary transaction with another human being has long been a legal and perfectly okay activity, and to all of a sudden make it illegal and then use the full force of the law to enforce it, that goes against our very basic values. Listen, I'm all for the guidelines, okay? But the government has to use the lightest touch possible, and these so-called leaders are not doing that. They are infringing on people's freedoms, all while, by the way, advocating to allow other criminals who have previously been in jail to be released. So it's contradictory in that sense too, and it's in complete contradiction to our Constitution and our way of life and what our society is founded upon.
Amen. Dan Crenshaw says it very well, very well.
I mean, I'll give you an example. Why can't you go to a car wash? Why can't a jewelry store open up on Mother's Day a few days before in order to maybe sustain their business? Why can the liquor store be open? And why can I go to a supermarket, but I can't go to a sports store? Why do they expect people to really think that's rationalized behavior? Why do they think I can't walk on the beach or get this, sit on the beach? How dare I sit on the beach? I could get a fine if I sit and sunbathe on the beach as opposed to sit on my couch, where 66% of the people who have been hospitalized in New York were people who are sheltered in place. Dan, we're not stupid.
Because they're drunk on power.
This is not working.
They're drunk on power. They think we're stupid. They think we're stupid.
They're drunk on power and they think we're stupid, quote unquote.
Stupid, and they're drunk on power, and this is why you're seeing people rise up. Americans are sick of it. They have a sense of injustice. They have a sense that these so-called leaders, these so-called judges, they have a sense that they're not actually implementing the law, because these aren't laws, right? These are executive orders. They have a sense.
Executive orders, they're not laws. Interesting.
That they're not really implementing justice as we understand it as a culture and as a society. We know that they're doing the wrong thing, and we have to call them out for it.
Okay, so Dan, or Congressman, I know the House is thinking about drafting a new relief bill. Nancy Pelosi's talked about it being $1 trillion to help healthcare workers, first responders, postal workers, and teachers. What do the Republicans think about this? And how much do you think this, will there be another relief bill, and how much?
Listen, first of all, the way we need to assess future relief bills is one problem at a time with one solution at a time. We could have been in Congress, in the House, working this whole time. Nancy Pelosi wants the American people to believe that we're only allowed to go and work once every 3 weeks and pass multi-trillion-dollar bills. Okay, so here's their playbook. They want you to stay locked down, all right, and they'll arrest you if you don't abide. They don't want you to have your job anymore. They want to wait for these industries to fail so there's no jobs to go back to, and then they want to act like these benevolent rulers and offer you money. Well, whose money is that? It's your money. And it's especially your kids' money, because one day that has to be paid back, and it's going to be your kids' taxes that have to be raised. Okay? And then in 2020, in the 2020 elections, the Democrats are going to come back and say, look how generous we were with your money. That's their playbook. And we have to wake up to this. This is not responsible governance. There isn't some unlimited amount of money to be spending, especially to bail out states that have been terrible with their fiscal responsibility this entire time. Okay, if you're a member of Congress from Texas, I don't see how you want to use Texan federal tax dollars that we are paying to bail out other states that have been totally irresponsible with their finances all of this time. That's the kind of stuff that's going to be put into this. It's going to be enormous. It's not how we should be governing. It has to be discrete solutions for discrete problems. That would be the responsible thing to do. Honest debate in the House. That's what we should be doing. Right. We have taken perfectly safe measures in order to do that.
Congressman, speaking of responsible, a lot of people have been wondering, were responsible things being done behind the scenes at the Department of Justice and the FBI to forward the Russia investigation? And ultimately, we found out a little more yesterday when the Department of Justice released, once again, a redacted version of one of the scope memos.
Again, these redacted versions. That's crap. I'm so sick of these damn politicians and their abuse of power. DOJ sucks. Sucks. FBI sucks. Not everyone, but there are way too many individuals in the DOJ and the FBI that are abusing their power and are not living up to the best in our constitutional values or in our freedoms or in our rights. I'm going to let it go here. It's just disgusting. Not a positive note. People are stepping up. They are waking up. They are fighting. I hope that we can wake up more people, get more resistance on this, get out and do things. The very fact, and we've talked about how tech is closing down, Google, YouTube, shutting down videos about this gal that was scientist that was career was wrecked. Her work was plagiarized. It was changed. The patents were stolen. Her finances were ruined. She was gagged, ordered. The things were sealed up. She was not allowed any rights. There was no warrants for arrest. There was no crime charged. It destroyed her career. She's fighting back. This is after 5 years of being told that she couldn't say anything on this. It was all sealed up. This is wrong. It's abuse of power. It's been going on for a long, long time. These people think they're above the law. They can make and create laws against the state's constitutions, against the federal constitution. Criminal activity, obviously. Abuse of power, obviously. And it's more than time to stand up. We're fighting for our rights, our freedoms, our jobs, our incomes, our livelihoods, our freedoms. And these people have got swollen heads on what they think they can do with these rights. It's wrong. Stand up, make yourself heard, get out, take off the mask, play on the beaches, get some fresh air, use your head, find out what your state you can and can't do in your state, but push back these administrative orders, which are not laws, and the abuse of power that's associated with them. God help us to gain our country back because we're fighting for everything we have. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Even the right to assemble, the right to worship, the right to go to church and get that worship, fellow worship with other individuals, the right to go to school, get an education. What are they going to do? How are they going to distance everybody? How are they going to pay for the classroom space? This is foolishness. Scientific and medical abuse and administrative abuse at its highest levels. And it's wrong. It's time to stand up, stand out, be heard, push back, and gain our freedoms back. Freedoms we had several months ago. We had these freedoms several months ago. And then we, like sheep, just let them go. Are you kidding me? Ridiculous.